Good morning, welcome back. All right, let's tackle a couple of problems with the law of sines and the law of cosines. So, yeah, let's see. We're going to say this is the first example right here. It says in triangle NOP, side N is 640, O is 600, and P is also 600. Find the measure of angle N to the nearest degree. Okay, well, the first thing you should do is draw a triangle. It doesn't really matter where you guys put the sides or the angles, just pick some. Angle N, O, and P. And across every angle, you're going to have basically the side with the same letter. So across N, we're going to have little n. And little n is 640. Across O, we have little o. And little o is 600 centimeters. So finally, little p is also 600 centimeters. Now here comes the big question. Should you use the law of sines or should we use the law of cosines formula? Well, in this problem I'm given side, side, side. This is an indication that we should be using law of cosines. And just for review, the other scenario that would tell me to use the law of cosines would be side, angle, side. I don't have it, but just for reference. Okay. Now, next. Since I'm looking for the measurement of angle N, start the formula with N. That's the suggestion, right, on how to set it up. If I'm looking for angle N, you should start with side N. So here's the formula. N squared equals O squared plus P squared minus 2 times O times P times cosine of N. So that's the setup, right? I want you to write the formulas before you write any numbers. Make sure that you have clearly write the formula. That way you know exactly where the numbers go. So we have 640 squared equals 600 squared plus 600 squared minus 2 times 600 times 600 times cosine of N. $640 squared, that is 409,600. Now to shorten the word for me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to square the 600 and I'm going to add another 600 squared, both at the same time. So 600 squared plus 600 squared gives me 720,000. Oh, that's it, 720,000. Okay, minus. Once again, to simplify the process for myself, I'm going to go ahead and multiply all those at once. So 600 times 600 times 2. That is also 720,000. Times cosine of N. Okay. Now, the next step is pretty crucial. A lot of students want to take these numbers and they want to subtract them, but you can't subtract them. We would have to multiply these guys first before we subtract because of PEMDAS, right? Multiplication comes first in the order of operations. So again, we can't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 720,000 to both sides. These cancel. So 409,600 minus 720,000 gives me negative 310,400 equals. Now, we're going to have to bring this whole thing down, including the negative. Don't forget about the negative. Equals negative 720,000 times cosine of n. Okay. Next, I'm going to go ahead and divide by negative 720,000. These will cancel out. And that gives me 0.431 cosine of n. Now, I'm only writing 3 decimals in my work, but when I actually do the problem on my calculator, I'm gonna use all the decimals. I'm just gonna copy and paste. All right, just so you know. Okay. The next thing I gotta do is get this cosine, and I guys basically gotta move it to the other side, and we're gonna do that by taking cosine inverse. Again, in my calculator, I'm gonna use all the decimals. Just copy and paste. And that gives me 1.125 n. Oh, that's radians actually. Let me look at the question. It says we're supposed to find the measurement of n to the nearest degree. So I actually need to go back to my calculator, switch it to degrees, and do it again. Because this right here is radians. What we actually need is 64 point, and we got to do it to the nearest degree. So 64.462, and if I round, this is gonna round to 64 degrees. This is in degrees. We actually didn't need this. That was radians. Okay. Let's do one more together. This one. Number 2. Once again, we have triangle NOP, and we're given that little p is 870 centimeters. The measurement of angle N is 127, and the measurement of angle O is 30 degrees. Find the length of little n, side n. Okay. We're going to start the problem the same way. We're going to draw a triangle, and I'm going to label the angles however I want. I can say N, O, P. Angle N is 127. Angle O is 30. Little p is 870. Now, this triangle is not necessarily drawn to scale. I just drew a random triangle. The 127, it doesn't even look like it's 127, but it's okay. It's going to work out. All right. So let's take a look. Let's see what I'm given here. I'm given angle, side angle. And that's not enough information for me to do either the law of sines or the law of cosines. But what I can do, I'm going to take this off. What I can do is I can solve for the missing angle, angle P. Because I know that the measurement of angle P plus the measurement of angle N plus angle O should be 180. Every time you're given 2 angles, like maybe automatically, just find the third angle. So angle P plus 127 plus 30 equals 180. If we add the angles that we have right here, we get 157. And I can now subtract these guys, giving me the measurement of angle P to be 23 degrees. So 23 degrees. Now I can reassess. If I look at my triangle, now I can think of it as having angle, angle, side. And you can go in either direction. Look, we have angle, angle, side. But we also have angle, angle, side. Both ways works. It really just depends what we're looking for. And we're looking for little n. We're looking for this guy right here. Now, the other thing I told you guys in class is that if you have a complete pair, you should be using the law of sines. So both of these things tell me that I should use the law of sines, because I have a complete pair and I'm looking for little n. So that's going to tell me that I should use the law of sines. We have n over sine of n equals p over sine of p. Plug in your numbers. N over sine of 127 equals 870 divided by sine of 23. Go ahead and multiply both sides by sine of 127. These will cancel. Just plug it into your calculator. Make sure that your calculator is set to degrees, though. Since my angles are in degrees, calculator has to be in degrees. 870 times sine of 127 divided by sine of 23 gives me that's crazy. That's a big number. It's 1,778.238. Let me go back and see the instructions real quick. It says that we are supposed to round to the nearest centimeter. That means to the nearest whole number. So n equals 1,778 centimeters. Okay. So there you have it. Two examples that are pretty similar to the practice mini final. Hopefully you guys find them helpful. I'll see you next time for circles.